Oh, hey, Jessica.
Where are you, by the way?
I'm at my luxurious New York City apartment that I bought with the lottery money that I won, and when I inherited that inn. I don't know if you know, I inherited an inn.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't believe you.
I'm very fancy now.
What are we doing in these boxes today?
You know what? I was asked to be here to talk about Paul Taylor and our process for Paul Taylor, so I guess that's why we are. We did not study mimicry.
Not mine. No mime degree. Paul Taylor. So what? Wait. Oh, Paul Taylor. We made some stuff for Paul Taylor Dance Company.
Yeah, and it's, I think some of our people are going to disagree in the comments, but I think it's some of our best work.
Just let us have that, you guys.
Let us have that. It's 2020. Let us have that.
It's true. Okay, so today we're going to talk about this cold open video that we made for Paul Taylor, I think, right? Because you and I both worked, we're sort of like the primary team on this video.
Yeah, totally. Jess had, Paul Taylor had come to Jess and Broadway Unlocked and all together now and said, hey, we want you to do our benefit. And as part of the benefit, they wanted an opening video, kind of a retrospective. And just how did they kind of describe what they wanted to you? So
they were mentioning, like, they have this old PBS, right? Like retrospective. That's just like they're 66 years old. They have 147 of Paul Taylor's works. I think like 177 works if you start counting other choreographers. And so they knew they wanted to do something really beautiful to showcase the depth of the history. You know, they're like, so like a timeline, basically is what they said. We like thinking about a timeline, but we don't want it to be, you know, like a basic kind of like, here's the timeline on, and then a dance. And so I went away and was thinking about it, and I was like, all right, here's the deal. Who's surprised? I'm obsessed with storytelling. What? Weird. And it's like there's so many stories inside this dance company, and so there's this really exciting thing right now where half of their staff was like there from almost the beginning, you know, of Paul Taylor. And then they've got this new energy, Michael Novak, who was a dancer for them, but is now the artistic director, and all these new stories. And so I decided I wanted to interview 4 of the folks that help run Paul Taylor, audio interview them for an hour and a half each, and then just put the story together from their own words, the story of Paul Taylor and that history. And then, so then I know you had to do the visual part of it, because that's not my job, that's for sure. No one wants that. How did you deal with that beast of a project?
Oh, I probably should share my screen. It's maybe I'll pull that up at some point. But yeah, Jess had pulled together these kind of amazing, these amazing interviews with all these people who helped build this company and built this like iconic brand, right? And was able to kind of piece together this inspirational, like, just particularly in this like 2020 situation where like we're so kind of not able to be around each other with our art, right? Yeah. And it's just like this kind of hopeful, inspirational story of these people who built something from nothing, just from an idea, from like a single man. And so it was to listen to those interviews and then to kind of go, where does my mind go, one, in regards to music? Mm-hmm. And then what do I want to happen with the visuals? Because there were such specific periods of time that like we were moving through with these stories that Michael, Lucy, Carolyn, and John were telling.
You want to watch it?
I think we should watch it. Let's
watch it and then talk a little bit about it. Roll that film, Natalie.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Paul had an indescribable way of leading our family. He did come from a family where his father left the house pretty much right after he was born. He had, 2 stepsisters and a stepbrother. And so he was always sort of outside.
I'm obsessed with this music and these photos.
Yeah. If you notice, he's always alone.
A lot about the whole family.
Beginning.
Oh, you're
image,
so
you know,
smart.
and the way it shows up in so many dances and the way they're actually, you know, moments where you can see that it's a family. You know, he picked up his family along the way.
That made me cry when I saw it the first time, by the way.
Yeah, let's stop there. Like I wanted to make sure in the very beginning that we started from this very small place, like this pinhole, because obviously when you tell a story, you have to have some place to go. And so I wanted to, that pinhole for me was one with the music. And then two, with the fact that he was by himself until she said he picked up his family along the way. And then that was when
Amazing.
he literally picks her. Because like, I went through like hundreds of hours of footage to like find things, right? So
it's funny because this first section was actually the hardest part for me doing the audio edit, only because I knew with this piece, and I think as we're getting ready to see, I wanted to really focus on the company, not Paul, because this whole show was about the future of Paul Taylor. And in addition, there's a great documentary called Dance Maker that's all about Paul, right? And I really wanted to be careful to not retell the same stories, but the privilege of getting to like talk to John Tomlinson and Lucy and Carolyn, who was with the company from almost the beginning, and getting to hear those stories. Like when we talk about killing our babies in art, man, I had to kill so many babies and it hurt so bad.
Sorry, pro-lifers. Awkward.
Keep rolling the footage, Natalie.
No, wait, hold on. Because I'm interested real quick. And was that like at the beginning part of your interview process with them? Like, because you know what I mean? Like, I'm very kind of intrigued by the fact that that's the story that kind of came out of their mouths. I don't know. That's fascinating.
No, funny. It was not at all at the beginning. So I did a so I make a podcast, right? If y'all watching don't know, I have a podcast. I'm like very good at asking a lot of questions, but for this, I knew I needed a ton, right, in order to be able to craft down. And so I really, really stayed out. I kind of let them go wherever they wanted to go. And so, no, in fact, I think that John talking about Paul growing up didn't happen till like 30 minutes into the interview with Lucy and John. So yeah, it's totally like all messed around and puzzled together.